Mr. Prime Minister, party leaders, ministers, ambassadors, members of the Parliament, and also my friends on the university's Board of Trustees and academic faculty, and journalists, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. It is my great honor and privilege to welcome you to our inaugural conference on the future independence of Kurdistan. I would like to say what a proud, exciting, and indeed momentous occasion this is for me personally, especially that we are gathered in this hall, a hall that stands in honor of my grandfather, that foremost historic champion of our country's independence. This is firstly and primarily, of course, because of the aim and subject matter of this conference, after all, which sets out to provide a political and academic assessment of the opportunities and challenges associated with the increasing self-rule of our country. As the war against Daesh grinds on, and given the continuing failure of the Iraqi state to provide effective governance, it is right and proper that all of us in Kurdistan should take stock of our own achievements, famously on the battlefield, but equally, gloriously within our emerging civil society, and look toward the future in which we exercise formally and completely our right as a sovereign people of self-determination. Without it, the future remains uncertain, beset by collusion of regional powers and an international system designed to protect sovereign states and not nations. Many of us here today carry bitter stories of our horrific past under successive regimes in Iraq and beyond, as the world simply looked on. We are all touched by unimaginable stories of hardship, loss, and betrayal. As I have often said in the past, our independence from Iraq should be welcomed as a solution to addressing distrust, a problem that has plagued Iraq for much of the last century. We are not accepted as equal citizens, and we reject subordination. Trust between and recently among Iraq's ethnic and religious communities does not exist. The path forward must be underpinned by a realistic dialogue between the Kurdish leadership and moderate forces in Baghdad for a mechanism to shape our future relations based on good neighborly ties and mutual interests. Yet my own views and feelings on this subject are reasonably well known and not intended to be the focus of this opening remarks. I am principally here today as an appreciative and attentive listener and a host, rather than a polemicist in the political debate. But I am equally proud, secondly, because of the very nature and format of the discussions we are about to engage in, which will remain emphatically scholarly in tone and content, evidence-based, rooted in a deep understanding of the complex history of our people and region, and founded on mutual tolerance and respect among all participants. In this, I'm confident that our discussion, our search for the best path for our people and for this part of the world will embody the fundamental values of our American university, values that are epitomized in the lives of the people of Kurdistan and, of course, of the Hook, who are currently striving their hardest to look after several hundreds of thousands of refugees and displaced individuals, values that are proactively protected by our President, by the Kurdistan regional government, and indeed by the very lives of our Peshmerga. Outward-looking liberal values at which Kurdistan is firmly aligned. This is why, looking around this audience and surveying the list of speakers that the president of our university, Dr. Molnix, and his team have assembled here, and thank you, every one of you, for making yourself available to join us. I am especially pleased to see such a diverse as well as such a distinguished body of panelists and guests who have agreed to participate. There are those of us who are members of one political party, and there are those among us from other parties and groupings. I see academics who have enthusiastically endorsed the idea of Kurdish independence, and there are other scholars who have tended to be more skeptical, and there are representatives of governments that hold constraining views about the best future shape of this part of the world, even as our complex situation evolves. And do remember that the fight against ISIS in Mosul and elsewhere is ongoing. There are learned visitors from all parts of the world and all parts of the Kurdish diaspora. And it is this diversity of viewpoint that will be a fundamental, core, strong component in our discussion. For as Winston Churchill reminds us, it is by putting the best minds in one place, through lively debate and discussion, and by pushing around of ideas, rather than through dogged adherence to a single political mantra, that the best and most lasting solutions are reached. In this case, solutions that will offer a true roadmap forward for the future of our country. I very much look forward to seeing some core outcomes and ideas emerge and be refined over the coming sessions. Finally, I should like to thank most sincerely those members of the academic, faculty, chairwomen, and members of the Board of Trustees of the American University of Kurdistan Foundation and University Administration who have contributed to the organization of this event, both the logistics themselves and, most importantly, for putting together such an eminent guest list of speakers. The university here in Duhok is now only 1 year old, and what you have achieved in this time in building a credible academic institution with a growing international pedigree and reputation, and providing first-class education for so many students is deeply impressive. It is, in fact, I believe, indicative of the possible scale of many more future life-enhancing achievements and successes that we'll be able to build together in an independent Kurdistan. Once again, thank you very much for attending and coming to this gathering. Thank you so much.